to boxing with TT. Let's get into this boxing mess. Hello guys, welcome back to Boxing with TC. Welcome to my channel. Thanks for liking, thanks for subscribing, thanks for sharing. And if this is your first time here, how you doing today? Okay, I hope you're having a good weekend. I'm enjoying your minds. The baby is asleep, the mister is asleep, little mama she's out with her girlfriends. So I'm just doing what I'm doing. Okay, now we're gonna speak about the infamous, the first superstar, Bill Richmond. Okay, Bill Richmond or William is born August 5th, 1763. He is owned, yes, I said it, he's owned by Reverend Richard Charlton. I'm gonna just call him Rev, okay? The rumors of the father, me no say. Okay, it's a lot of rumors about who the daddy is, and I don't mean that in a good way. It's a rumor that maybe Mama and Rev was having an affair. It could be, it's a rumor that maybe she was dealing with one of the slaves as well, or the neighbor, one of the neighborhood slaves. Is rumored that she was attacked by by British soldiers, the hero soldiers, and yeah, so yeah, but Bill doesn't have a birth record, so the daughter of the Rev tells him to go ahead and start writing about himself, okay? And he starts writing about himself at 10. And he says in the book that he's never been beaten, he's never been whipped, he's never been chained. He doesn't, him or the other five slaves, they don't suffer the same fate as other slaves do, okay? Which is freaking great for them, but they're still slaves. So they work on a farm and they care for horses. And to give a little background about the Charltons, the Reverend family, he is married. His wife name is Mary, and they have one daughter. Her name is Catherine. And the Reverend has a really large church, and he gives help to the community. Okay, and while he's running the church, Miss Mary, or Old Mary is what Bill referred to her. Miss Mary is preaching. She is spreading the word of God. Okay, which makes Catherine stay home with the kids, with the other slaves. I'm not sure if the other slaves was kids or not, but she is responsible for the slaves. And Miss Catherine is married as well. Okay, but she teaches Bill and she teaches the other slaves how to write and how to read because it's quote unquote the Christian thing to do. And it takes them a long way with them doing that, but it was unheard of for the owners to teach their slaves how to read and to write. If it was the Christian thing to do or if not, it was just a no-no. And what winds up happening is they have actual freedom outside of work. Once they take care of what need to be taken care of, baby, Bill, I must speak about Bill. Bill could go ahead and he can do pretty much what he want to do, but he understands where he's at. So he really can't do what he want because he is in America. He is in New York. And from what they were saying, they was ruthless just like the men in the South was, honey. And Catherine looks at Bill like a big brother to her. Like, that's why I don't know how she was married with a baby already. But anywho, so Bill has already earned himself a little reputation around the area. He is known to fight other people and friends along the way. But he doesn't just fight just to fight. He fights for racial slurs. If you say something slick about him being black, honey, he was going to punch you in your eye. And you was going to understand why he wasn't to be played with. Don't play with his blackness because he wasn't having it, okay? Bill is gets into so many fights that his old Mary has to, try to talk to him. And she's like, son, you have to learn how to pray before you get into these altercations, okay? Like, pray before you get into these altercations, and if you still want some smoke, go ahead and do what you got to do. But I'm gonna need you to pray first. And this is exactly what he does. He begins to pray before he gets into any gangster ish, okay? So Bill prays before he fights so that, he knows that he's doing the right thing. So after he prays before he fights, everything kind of settles down a little bit. And Bill is described to be like 5'8", 170 pounds. And he is described to be black as night, which he then befriends a young gentleman by the name of Richmond. He's light, so you consider them as night and day, okay? And what winds up happening is Richard winds up being sold to a burial maker. But it's like a contract. It's like a contract. You can have him for a few weeks, but you have to bring him back. And weeks go by, days go by, months go by, and nobody has seen or heard from Richmond. And Bill is like, yo, where's my bro? Has anybody seen something? Like, what's going on? And everybody is like, yeah, no. We don't know where he's at. Like, we don't know what happened to him. And he starts to question what happened to his friend. And he starts to believe that he is dead. He believes that the burial maker, um, you know, off them. So in 1774, freedom rumors begin to spread, okay? And Bill wasn't your typical 10-year-old. He questioned a lot of things that went on that will probably get you off back then because you wasn't supposed to question. You were supposed to just go with the flow. Here, honey, say hi. So you don't want that? No. So he does a lot of things that he shouldn't do, but he does it anyway because he just doesn't care, pretty much. And so he begins to ask questions like, well, why are they free in England, but we're slaves in USA? Like, what's up with that? And he becomes kind of obsessed to that idea. And he also believes that his mother was raped by a British soldier because that's where he guesses that's where he probably holds all of his anger from. And then the same person that he think is responsible for his friend's disappearance comes back to the Reverends, and he pretty much buys him as a contract as well. And Bill is now faced with a different pattern. Okay, he's faced with a different pattern, and he understands exactly what happened to his friend because this man is ruthless towards Bill. Like, he beats him just because of what it is. Okay, and when he comes back to the Charltons after a couple of weeks or months, he's pretty much damn near silenced. Like, that man beat him to the point where he didn't want to ask any questions. He didn't pretty much want to know anything else. And he doesn't say anything, but there's like a gash, like a deep gash, like right above his eye. And of course, sis is like, bro, like, what happened? And he's like, yeah, nothing that slaves don't go through. Like, it's nothing different. I just dealt with the wrong person, pretty much. And what winds up happening is in 1776, something happens to Bill that once again changes his life, but this time for the better. At 13, Bill is verbally attacked and threatened by British soldiers that are now moving into the New York, okay? And when he is threatened and attacked, he doesn't take this kindly at all. And the soldier tries to, I guess, scare him away, or he tries to pull some type of stunt, and Bill is like, yeah, no, we're not doing none of this. And he's like, I'm going to teach you a lesson. Bill is like, absolutely not. You're not going to teach me a lesson. And then he realizes that he looked like he might be a little bit drunk, and the other two guys are drunk too, but that still doesn't mean anything. You can get this word drunk or sober, sir. Mind you, this boy is 13 years old, and he prays, goes in the corner and he prays because he knows what's about to happen. He prays, and when he comes up, he punches him dead square right in the nose. He started bleeding all over the place. And a guy named General Lord Percy comes up, and he's like, "Hey, everybody, back up, step away. There's nothing else to say. Beat it. Do not touch this black boy right here." And he pretty much gets the 411 from Bill himself. And Bill, Bill is kind of scared that, he has the freedom that he has, being that he's a slave. And General pretty much assures him, like, nothing is going to happen to you, but I want to speak to your owner. And they do. They speak, and he lets them know, hey, I want him. I want him to come with England, to England with me. And the Reverend agrees. So here we come, pretty much. Yeah. So yeah, let's go. We free. Okay? We's freed. We ain't slaves no more. But the tricky part about this was before this, an incident took place with the Charlton family, to where he was already supposed to be free, but they couldn't really give it to him the way that they were supposed to give him. It was like they was playing with him. But it was a deal with that pertained to the daughter, that if her pregnancy was successful, that he will be able to be set free. But when it came down to it, they kept playing with him. Of course, they couldn't let him go. He did pretty much everything that they needed him to do, so they don't want to let him go. So being a free man, he goes to school, and he picks up a trade to build furniture. And when he picks up the trade to do furniture, he is demanded to come back in 1795. To come back, not as a free man, not as a server, but as a slave. And Bill is like, you got to be out your damn mind. Absolutely not. No, 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 and no, and no. And of course, they're like, okay, we'll do whatever we got to do so that he can't find you. And they sent him away. And when they sent him away, this is when he picked up his trade. And they sent him away to another place in England called Yorkshire. I hope I said it right. In Yorkshire, he marries his wife. Controversy part is that her name is Mary or her name is Eve Marie at 18 years old. She's white. And he fathers between 4 or 7 children, depending on what source you believe. I only read the 4 children, so I believe that it was only 4 children. And then in 1796, 1796, he begins thinking of fighting. And his friend is like, okay, well, you could do it. And he's like, well, wait a minute. I have 4 children. And that's pretty much no life for a man and a wife with children. Like, I guess he understood the back knowledge of it, and he didn't want his wife or his children to go through that. So he was like, I'll do it for a little bit, but I won't make it too deep. And he starts to study the sport, okay? So in 1804, he is bored with the boxing game. With the furniture game, okay? He becomes bored. And when he becomes bored, he decides, okay, now I want to box. And when he does this, he is now 40 years old. Okay? And this is why I asked y'all, did y'all want me to go into depths of his background? Even though I kind of was trying to give y'all what was going on with his history, with his background, but this is why I asked y'all, because he was 40 years old when he started boxing. And yeah, he's 40 when he starts boxing, and he boxes against George Maddox. George Maddox is, and my stories a lot. I think I might have to do a video on George Maddox. But he loses, okay? And when he loses, he doesn't stop, okay? And now he's finding a new identity. His new identity is the Black Terror, because before he came to London in England, he the people knew who the man was. He wasn't no secret. They knew who he was. They knew what he was about, and they knew, what he can do. And the Black Terror versus Wimp Maker. I'm going to leave that alone. But Wimp Maker, and within 10 minutes to the match, he wins with a shot to the chest. He chopped him. He punched him, screwed in his chest, and that's how he won. And his name Whip Maker. He could be called Chest Maker because you need some more chest. If it take us 2 blows to the chest, then sir, you need to do some more work on yourself. So, in 1805, he fights a Jew named Yosuf, and he wins in the 12th round. And everyone loves his performance. At first, of course, he's black, so no one is really, the Jews ain't really rocking with him. But he does such a good job that you can't hate him for too long. He can fight, damn it. The boy good. The boy good. The boy was so dang on good that the Jews that did not want to give him props had to give him props. That's how good the man was, okay? And he gains a little bit of attention, but then when he fights Jack Holmes in the 11th round, Bill wins, and then he goes on to fight Crib. And this match lasts 90 minutes. And at this time, Bill is 43 years old, and Bill loses. Bill loses, and Bill is like, okay, yeah, no, I got other shit that I gotta do. Y'all can have this. This ain't that. This ain't what I called out for. And then he goes on hiatus. Probably goes back to, making sure that everything is good at home, something like that, because you have to remember that he really wasn't too beat for it pertaining to his wife and his kids. So he probably was like, all right, whatever, I lost. I tried to go for the championship belt. It didn't work out. Okay, it is what it is. And 2 years later, he is facing West England. And, he is facing a man from West England, and his name is Carter. He beat Carter too. He beat him in 20 minutes. Okay. And then in 1808, he faces a man named Wood. He was they looked at him like a champ. Like they knew that he was going to be a champ. But I don't think they knew that Bill was going to win because Bill beat him too. Okay. And now Bill wants to pursue a business. He wants to open up a pub. And a pub was basically like a bar back in the day, like a little lounge spot. Okay. So he decides he wants to take the money that he's getting from boxing, and he wants to open up this pub. So he needs bigger people, bigger names for bigger money. Okay. And he goes on to fight for 25 rounds in 1808 with Wood. And then you got Maddox again. And he lasts over an hour with Bill. And Bill wins. Controversial. One of my sources said that he won, and then the other one says that Bill won 2. I don't know. Just letting y'all know. I don't know. Okay. And then he goes on to fight 3 other men and a guy named Frank Myers at 1795, and he wins. In 1804, Bill loses to Maddox in 9 rounds. So, and then I also found out that it was another guy by the name of George as well. Okay, so I'm thinking that, yes, he fought George Maddox twice. He won once and he lost once, but the other George, he won 2. Right. Absolutely. It will come on right now. Right. It's beautiful. So, Bill is... I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm so sorry about it. And Bill trains boxers. at the Horse and Dwarf pub. He's not really too beat for boxing right now. Like I said, he just actually went back into boxing just to get the money up so he can have his pub, okay? And he decides to train Tom Monealuix. After finding out that Tom is an actual made up character in the United States of America, he's like, listen, don't waste my time. I'm not here to play with you. I got shit to do and I got mouths to feed, okay? So don't play with me. And what is it, because he knew what they was trying to do, the back history of what the people that sent Tom to Bill was trying to actually do. So he kind of came off real harsh, and then he just was like, all right, I'll train him, okay? Um, I'll train him. And so he decided, being that he lost the crib, that he would train another black slave, Tom, to defeat. He decided that he would train Tom to defeat Crib, and then he will go ahead and challenge Tom as well. Okay, that was his game plan. Okay, but baby, that thing didn't work out because something that happened with the rain, and it was messing up the stage, and it was messing up the ring, and under the weather conditions, even though Maylocks knocks Crib out like 8, 9, 10 times. I'm talking about KOs. All right, I said 8, 9, 10. It was 8, 9, 10, y'all. It was like 8 times though. It was. For real. He knocked him out like 8 times. And the referee allowed him to get a couple of seconds to get up because of weather conditions or because of the condition of the ring. So, being that he loses, they come to an agreement of this is not working. And on top of that, Tom was breaking the rules that Richmond had set out for Tom. Tom was a heavy drinker, and Tom outdid the ladies, and the rules was no drinking at the pub and no chicks, especially not no white chicks. Stay the fuck away from no white chicks, okay? Which, yeah, I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna just leave that alone right there. And they cut ties even when Tom passed away. Like he didn't even go to his funeral. Yeah, so nothing could keep us. We gonna stay separated until the end time, and that's it. And that's what happened. So now Bill loses the passion that he once had for training because he lost a lot of profit messing with Tom. Not only did he lose profit, but he also lost a lot of he just lost the patience and the passion, and he just basically lost it all. Okay, and he now turns the boxing era of the pub into a storage area, but he keeps the bar running, and he then his fame starts to die out because he's not really boxing like that and he's not really training like that. So his fame kind of like dies out and people start losing interest in him. And then the tax people come. And you know what happened when you don't pay the taxes. The people come. They come and that's it. And they demolished it. What a crock. So in May 18th, at age 50, this man just decides, I want to try one more again. And he does. He goes in against a guy named Jack Davis, and he wins. Yeah, he beat Jack Davis up. Yeah, y'all see, I got my baby, so you know, I gotta find another way to do this right here. So then we have another gentleman by the name of Tom Shelton, who is half of Mr. Bill age, okay? And that didn't mean nothing, because, sucker, I'm half your age and I'm beating you down like I am your age. Because within 23 rounds, 23 harsh rounds, he beat him. Shouldn't have did. Beat that young boy all up. His height is 5'8", And when he started boxing, he was 165 to 170 pounds. And in 1820, he begins to run a boxing academy. And then he, in the midst of that's the end of him boxing. After Tom Shelton, it was a wrap. He officially gave it up for real, for real, for real. Like it was a done. He was done with it for real, for real, for real. So why they ain't tell me? I ain't blend this shit. Y'all got me sitting here look good and crazy. All right, I see now. Sure, y'all ain't gotta tell me now. As I see, what's going on. But he then decides to leave boxing completely alone. And him and Crib had a real long like beef, and they actually they pretty much stopped beefing after forever. Like, yeah, y'all in your freaking 50s. Doesn't even matter what the freak happened. But he was definitely respected for his charisma that he had since he was like 10. He had charm, he had attitude, and he was admired for his work. He actually used to study his footwork. Yeah, like he used to like get into rhythm, and then he would just start watching his foot, and he'll start playing with his foot. And he decided that he would work on his footwork. So he put that part right there down. The master of studying the art, and then he also brought a different way to approach the opponents with letting them come to him first. Okay, and his wife passed away, but the wife was ill, y'all. The wife had some kind of disease. It was unknown of, but it made her forget him and the children identity. So I know what it's called, but my brain is not working too good. I know there's a couple of diseases that make you do that. Maybe she had, or maybe that was Alzheimer's. I'm thinking it was probably Alzheimer's, y'all. Maybe she had Alzheimer's and didn't even know she was. How could you know back them days, right? And then his son, one of his sons, actually tries out the box, but it's not really successful. And then he himself passes away. I'm not sure when the wife passes away, but he passes away December 1829 at 66 years old. And it's rumored that he passed away while he was in Tom's Crib pub. Okay. Okay. And he is known to also knock out a man within 20 seconds. And he has fought 19 fights and he has lost. He has 17 wins. Okay. Now, that is the story of Mr. Bill Rich. Okay. I call him Bill Rich because he was rich in spirit. Okay. Now, to me, I believe that Tom ain't want to fight him because he was black. Tom didn't really fight a lot of black men in his era of boxing. He didn't think that they was worthy of it, even though even though Bill, even though Bill, okay. If you looked at my earlier video, I told you guys that you had to travel to London in England in order for you to be recognized as a boxer. That's what he did, and he still didn't look at Bill as a boxer because he was black. He didn't want to fight him because he was black. They said that he could have had his title shot with Crib, but Crib was inactive. And if you're inactive, you can't fight. You're not fighting at the moment. But I don't believe that. I believe that it was due to racism. I believe that the Tom Monealuix thing was because of racism. And I believe that I take back some of the things that I said about Mr. Bill Richmond come towards Tom, but Some of the things I don't, because it's like, who are you to critic? Like they stated that he didn't want Richmond, I mean Tom, to engage in activities as drinking and dealing with white women because it wouldn't make him a free man. He would still be a slave in his mind. That's what they say. But my thing is, who are you to tell somebody what to do? They're grown. Like, Tom is not a kid. Tom can make his own decisions. If, and I understand it. Like, yes, it's very dangerous for you to be dealing with these white women, but sir, you married your white woman at the age of 18 years old. And you remained with the same lady until you was 66, until death. Sorry. The dangers. You wasn't worried about the dangers. Like, so why did he? So he probably felt as though, who is you to tell me what to do? I can do what I want. And though he did understand that he was messing up. But I think that Bill had a drinking problem. I do. I think he suffered from a drinking problem. I told y'all in my last video, not Bill. I think Tom suffered from a drinking problem because every time he seen Tom, he was drinking. He would train and drink, train and drink. But I also do believe that he suffered from depression. I will say it again. I think the man suffered from depression because why would a person drink so much like that is free? Like, I don't understand it. I think he suffered from depression. I think that he understood that he was free, but well, they say that he lived a lot. They say that he wasn't the champion of the United States of America. They said that that was just a front. So the people in the United States thought that this was true. Well, maybe the people knew that it wasn't true, but Bill knew what it was. Bill was like, "Yo, like, don't play with me. Like, I know that you're not who you say you are. So what's tea with you?" And I think that that probably bothered him because he never had nobody come out and do that to him before. Like, nobody never questioned what he did and how he did it. They just loved it. And Bill was trying to get one up with Crib through Maddox. And I don't take back to what I said. When Maddox couldn't deliver what he needed, he probably, I mean, yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that sealed the fate right there. I told you that I need you to beat him and you couldn't beat him. You told me that you could beat him and you couldn't beat him. But at the end of the day, he didn't beat him because he couldn't beat him. He didn't beat him because the freaking referee. Mind y'all, I told y'all the first time Tom went on, that Tom did, I mean, that I told y'all that he did actually go on to beat Tom Cribb. Tom Milox went on and beat Tom Cribb, okay? So it's not like he couldn't beat him. He just didn't beat him because of the games that they was trying to play, y'all. They were trying to play games with that man, and that wasn't right. That wasn't fair. If you didn't want to work with him, like I said, then you should have just said I didn't work with him. At first, when I was doing my background, I was like, oh, I get it. He didn't really do, I see where he coming from. He just wanted the best for him. But the more I read and the more research I did, it was like giving both, like, I don't know. It was just giving both, like, crazy vibes. Like, did you want him to succeed or no? Like, was it because he couldn't do what you, like, he could have did what you did, but he didn't because of a racist act? And you knew because he knew, y'all, Bill knew. Bill, look at me. Look at me. Look at me, y'all. Bill knew that that man had been cheated, but he didn't say anything. He didn't say nothing to the promoter. He didn't say nothing to the camp. He didn't say nothing to the referee. He didn't say anything. This man got knocked out 8 times. 8 freaking times. And you turned around and still blanked the same person that knocked this man out 8 times. but I'm losing. I don't like it. I know y'all like, why is she doing her makeup while that baby right there? Cause that baby gonna wake up as soon as I put his behind down, and he need to be asleep. And it's not bothering him. I promise y'all it's not. But yeah, like that junk was just real whack. Like it was real. Like I swear, y'all. I was like, you know what? Let me stop being such a judgment. Let me go ahead and just see it better. Try to see if I could get a different opinion about Richmond when it came down to Milas. And then I was like, oh, well, that's not nice. Like the same way that I felt that he was being a hater was how I felt all freaking over again. And I really did not want to feel this way because of the accomplishments that he did set out to create for himself. But it's like, God, like, for you to pick with him, like you was picking with him because of the him sleeping with females and because he was drinking. You never sat down and asked that man what was wrong. You never sat down and asked that man, why do you drink so much? It was to the point where he called him pathetic. And Tom was like, yeah, I know. Who is you to call somebody pathetic, sir? Just because you don't drink or because you don't smoke or because... I was about to say because you don't mess with white women, but I can't even say that now, can I? Hypocrite. Hello. Okay, and then you drunk as well. Like you was a drinker as well. Like you drunk too. So look, see, my makeup, my brushes and fell. Yeah. Um, as far as what he did for boxing, as far as him um putting down a new way of boxing, a new thinking of boxing, and achieving what he achieved, bravo. But as far as the way he looked at Tom, I ain't feeling that, y'all. I'm not feeling that. I ain't feeling that a little bit. Like I'm not. My face look mad pale, y'all, but I promise y'all it's not. I promise y'all it's not. But it's just like, yeah, it's not given. It's not given at all the way he treated that man. Like you then he said he could have went a little bit more easy and maybe he was a little rough. You think? You think? I get it. I understand. You wanted more for him. You wanted more for him. I understand that, but that's not how you attack. That's not how you go at it. You don't attack a person that has problems going on with them by constantly shoving it in their face that you're drinking too much. You're sleeping with the girls again. You're drinking too much. Every time I turn around, you smell like liquor. If you would have sat down and you would have asked that man, why do you drink so much? Or if you would have told him, hey, listen, I know your true identity, but is that the reason why you drink so much because of what they labeled you in the United States of America? Like, or is there any, past trauma that you want to speak about? Like, you could have sat down and spoke to him. It's reasons that people do certain things. And you just have to take the time out to ask questions. And then you will learn about that person. I know this video mad long, y'all. I'm sorry. But yeah, like, no, I'm not. No, that was corny. It was cliche, and I think that if he maybe would have took a better approach, because as you know, Bill, I mean not Bill, Tom. After him leaving Bill, Tom still was fighting, and Tom still was defeating people. So he was defeating people, whether it was a myth or whatever the case may be. He was already defeating people in the USA. But then he came over to London or England and was defeating people over there too. So what we doing here? Like, you try to get that man, train that man up so the way that you want him to be trained, so that so that he can defeat Crib and so that you could get the glory for it. And then you was gonna what? Call him out to fight you next, so you could take the belt next. Terrible, girl, sirs and ladies. I'm over it. This is the story of Bill Richmond. I see y'all when I see y'all. Have a good one and peace out, y'all.